This meeting is recorded. When? Zoom meeting. Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Meeting information button. View button.
Oh.
Muted. Currently unmuted.
Because we typically always do an introductory session on new accessibility options in our operating systems, I thought it would be appropriate for us to do a Windows 11 kind of accessibility, what's in it, what's new, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what today's presentation is going to be on Windows 11 accessibility. So a lot of what you're going to see today in today's presentation is a shared screen. So a lot of what I'd like to do is I'd like to just actually show you right in Windows 11 what the accessibility options are. Of course, I always have to tell you what my favorites are. And there are some that we probably won't be able to get really into depth with, such as voice recognition, because it's such a pregnant topic. But I want to make sure that we leave lots of time for questions. And please feel free at any time to unmute yourself and holler out, say, Gloria, I have a question about that. I like to keep these presentations kind of open and free flowing, and I want you to get the biggest bang that you can, for lack of better terms. Everybody good?
Yes.
I'll take that. Yep, awesome. All right. So in the new Windows, what they've done is they've put accessibility in the settings. And as you can see from the screen, or you may see from the screen, is it's presented very much like the iOS devices. So it's presented now where we have a general list on the left-hand side of the screen, and then we have the particulars on the right-hand side of the screen. So I have clicked on, I have gone into settings, gone into the menu, gone into settings, and went straight to accessibility. Okay, so that's where this screen leads us. Here's the interesting thing is I am using some of these accessibility options, but you don't see them on the screen. So it does not appear in Zoom. I'll give you an example, my mouse pointer. So the mouse pointer is very close to the word or under the word accessibility. My mouse pointer is yellow and it's very big. But in the presentation or as I'm sharing the screen, it does not appear that way. So I'm going to give you some descriptions for when these types of things don't work. So I let Windows know that their accessibility options don't transfer through the video when giving a Zoom meeting. So just interesting note to take. All right. So obviously, so I clicked on accessibility and the very first option shows up is called vision. And the first thing is text size. So it says the text size appears throughout Windows and your apps. And when you click on it, it brings you to a window that allows, with a slider bar that allows you to change the text size. So for those individuals that may use a screen reader, if you tab to the text size, you can actually increase or decrease the text size using your arrow keys. So this is the text size that shows up in these lists. So on the top, it says text size preview. It says the size of these words will change as you adjust the slider. So as I move this slider here, you'll notice that those words will change in terms of size. So I'm bumping it up to 169. And so now we get a sample of what the font would look like. Once we hit the apply button, you would see this size font on the left-hand side and then throughout any of your settings screens. So if you needed to bump up the font a little bit, this is a new option and it works a little differently than it had in the past. This is one of the features that they put in, of course, to be competitive with Apple's ability to change the text size in their operating system. So don't be confused, this text size will change in your Microsoft apps, in Microsoft Word, and in the operating system. However, you may not notice the text size change if you go into a browser. There are other ways to change the text size in browsers. All right, I'm moving forward because I don't hear questions, so please feel free to stop me at any time. Okay, the next new accessibility option is called visual effects. I'm not going to spend a ton of time here because many of these visual effects are not that helpful to many of us. Some may actually cause a hindrance, and I'll give you a few examples. So the very first option we have is always show the scroll bars. So I always like to see the scroll bars so that I know kind of where I am on the page. Some people find that as a distraction, so you can actually shut that off. These next two options, something I just want to talk about a little bit. One of them is called transparency effects, and the other one's called animation effects. So again, these two options, depending on our vision condition, in most cases are not helpful. So the transparency effects are basically something that where your window, you can almost see, if you had two browsers open, one window on top of another window, this would allow you to kind of see what's underneath that window. For many of us with poor vision, it's hard enough for us to see one window, never mind look through and see what's behind it. So oftentimes this is an effect that we will actually turn off so that it lessens any visual discrepancies. The second one is animation effects. So sometimes, in Microsoft, they want to make the windows kind of swoop, and they make a swooshing sound, and they make movement. Again, for some of us, yeah, that's pretty. For some of us, it can be very confusing and then trying to figure out like what happened and how you need to adjust. So although they are on here, most oftentimes I will just shut them off. The last thing is dismiss notifications after amount of time. Notifications are those little things that pop up on the bottom. On the bottom right-hand side of the screen. And where the time is. So oftentimes when when the notifications will pop up, it'll actually block certain things on our screen. So this is why you can actually control the amount of time that you have. So here it says 5 seconds, so it wouldn't disrupt your screen too badly. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and these are some, what they've done here is, and for some people this gets very confusing, they've added some settings that are related to visual effects. So this setting that's related is the display. And the display is where you can control the brightness, the light. I'm going to go there so that you can see it. So here the brightness is up full blast. Something called night light, where it makes the screen more of a yellow color. And then here you can actually control your monitor. So for some individuals, even like myself, most of the time I connect this computer to a larger monitor. So if I needed to control anything within that display, I'm using the term monitor and display interchangeably. So I could actually control either the display or the monitor here. Here's where things get a little interesting. If I wanted to go back, okay, let's say to accessibility, I need to get, if you look up top here, I'm actually in system now. I'm not in accessibility anymore. This is where some of the navigation in Windows gets a little confusing. So remember we went to display. So now I have to come all the way back and go to accessibility again. So then I can now go down, we were under visual effects, remember? And that's where we found display. This is what I said, but that's a little confusing sometimes about the settings, is you think you're just going to go back to the setting that you were at before. Not necessarily. Oftentimes you have to go back into accessibility and then, find your way within the list. All right, I'm not hearing any questions, so I'm taking that everybody's pretty good. Here's what we're going to get into the meat of it. This is one of my absolute favorite accessibility options, and it has to do with the mouse pointer They have now made it so that you can actually change the color and the size of the mouse pointer. You can customize the color, do all kinds of fun stuff with it. Let me explain. So the first option we have is a white mouse pointer. Okay, for many the average computer user has a white background with a white mouse on it. For us VIPs, it's very, very, very difficult to find. Okay, so they offered a mouse pointer that's black. Okay, now some people like myself like a black background. So if I use a black mouse, I put it on a black background, I can't find the mouse. This mouse right here will invert the mouse depending on what color it's on. I really like this feature. So for example, if my mouse pointer is on something that has a white background, my mouse pointer will appear black so that I can find it. If I put my mouse pointer on a black background, it will turn white so I can find it. So that's what this inverted option does. And oftentimes I encourage people to turn that on because for those of us that still use a mouse, oftentimes just finding it is the pain. And the last feature is where you can actually change the color of the pointer. So if I were to choose this option here, okay, I could actually scroll down and, excuse me, pardon me, not scroll down, if I click on it. There. So if I click on it now, I can actually make the mouse pointer whatever color I want, okay, and I can increase or decrease the size. So here I could choose. Now the sad thing is like I said, you're not seeing it on your screen, but my mouse pointer is yellow. This is the color that it's on at the present time. And then I have a slider bar where I can control the size of this mouse. So I can make it bigger or smaller. Now, if I go a little bit bigger, I wonder, yeah, we don't see the size difference on the screen because of Zoom. So I think I had it at 4.
I got a quick question on the inverted mouse.
Please.
Because I've used that feature before, I eventually turned it off only because I like that it inverts it. So no matter what the color the mouse is over, it changes it so that the pointer stands out. But I've noticed that whenever I move the mouse, it kind of has like a little ghosting effect where it kind of like shrinks or almost disappears. Is that something that looks good or better in Windows 11? Like, does it flicker?
It works better in Windows 11, but there's another feature that could be turned on that is giving you that ghosting effect. And actually, let's go talk about that right now.
Hey, Gloria,
Yes,
my mouse is black, right, over white. When I go over a black surface, it stays black, but it gets a white line around the mouse.
okay, yep, and that's actually another feature too. Let me go to that and see if I can show you where that is. So it says additional mouse settings. Okay,
Okay.
so under additional mouse settings. Wait a minute. All right, it's not sharing that screen. Just give me 1 second. I have to make it share that screen now. There we go. So this is the screen that you'll see. For those people that are familiar with Windows 10, Windows XP, this dialog box may be familiar to you as it was the standard back then. So the answer to the two gentlemen's question could potentially lie here under pointer options. So under pointer options, you can obviously select the speed, but this is down here, it says display mouse pointer trails. That if that option is turned on, then that could be causing some of the mouse ghosting. And it could also cause inversion. When you have that inversion piece on, it could be causing that problem. Now, Bob, was it you, I think, that you had a line or something through your mouse?
I have a black mouse that I
Okay,
use over the white screen. And
Yep.
as soon as I move the mouse over a black screen, it highlights the mouse in white.
okay. So I'm wondering then, because sometimes these options down here on the bottom show the location of the pointer. And hiding the pointer. Sometimes these two things and this pointer trail, these three options will interfere with that. And that, if one of those are on, that could be causing the interference and you getting that line or whatever. That's what I've seen in the past with many computers. You can try it. But while I'm here, I want to tell you, this is one of my absolute favorites, this particular option here. It says automatically move the mouse pointer to the default button in a dialog box. So a dialog box is when you tell the computer to do something and then a box pops up and it says, okay, cancel, or save, don't save. That's a dialog box. So if you check this option, what it'll do is it'll automatically bring your mouse pointer to the default button in that box, which most oftentimes is the OK button, save button, yes button. You get the idea. The reason why I love this so much is because I don't know about you guys, but I spend a lot of time looking for the mouse. And I need to get over myself, but so this one here just brings it right to the dialog box so that you're not searching for it. I hope that helped. All right, once I close this, then I have to reshare my screen. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. We're in the accessibility options and we're looking at mouse pointers. So I'm going to come back and go back into accessibility again. We were at mouse pointer and touch. Okay, and I do believe that I went through most of these features. The touch indicator, so the computer that I am doing this presentation on is called a Yoga. So it's a 3-in-1 machine. You can use it as a tablet. So it has a touch screen. You can fold it in half. And you can use it as a computer with a keyboard. So this particular option is offering me, when I touch the screen so that I can see where I'm touching, it can actually make a circle to give me an indication. So this is only for touch screen computers. If you don't have a computer with a touch screen, you won't see this option. I personally don't get it, but because you know where your finger is going, like, you know what I mean? So I can't really wrap my head around the touch indicator. But you notice as I scroll down, we're seeing this similar theme here, where if there's any settings that are related to these, they actually offer them down here, which is really helpful so that you don't have to go digging through settings. So if I needed more mouse options, I could go here. Okay, and then this brings me to, I can control my mouse, like the buttons. I can control the speed here. Okay, how the mouse scrolls, of course, like how many lines at a time. All right, and then of course we get more mouse settings. Okay, I'm going back to accessibility. And I'm going to go, this is my next favorite. It's called text cursor. Now, for any of you that do any writing, take any notes, research, that kind of stuff, one of the hardest things is for us to find that little blinking cursor, especially if we're doing editing. We want to take the mouse, we want to click. We click in that box. As soon as we turn our head, look back at the screen, I lost where I clicked. So what this particular option does for us is it will give us an indicator to tell us where the cursor is. So I have chosen the color purple. I do believe it's coming through the screen. And I chose two little dots to be on top and on the bottom of my cursor so that it would stand out for me. And then I can control the size of it. So down here,
Windows, this is
Yes.
Insight. Trying to get some information
Oh.
about Windows 11.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
having a problem here.
can you hear me?
Maybe I won't be able to do it right now.
We have somebody trying to join that's having some difficulty. Can you hear me, sir? Is it Fred?
Fred, she wants to know, can you hear her?
Yes,
Okay, all right. Can you follow me on the screen?
no, I'm having a problem.
Okay. Can I call you after the presentation?
What'd she say?
I'd be happy to call you after the presentation.
She'll call you after.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the text cursors, the size will get bigger and smaller, and I can control the colors down here. On the ends of the slider bars, it just shows you a little bubble or teardrop. And that's what the text indicator appears like. Like I said, this is very helpful when doing, if you're reading or doing some research, and you need to find out, and you do need to do some editing. Okay, as I scroll down, here's where we can control the thickness. So for those of you that may not want a color on the top or the bottom of your cursor, here we can actually control the thickness of it. So you can, instead of it being that thin line, you could make it thicker so that it stands out for you, and it's more bold. So that option is done.
I can't understand. I know what you're saying. So I'm gonna leave. Can't do it.
All right, and then as we notice here, we got related settings and mouse pointer and touch. And that brings us right back to the mouse pointer sizes again. So I just want you to see how this related setting thing works. I'm gonna go back to accessibility. And then I left off under text cursor, right? Okay. So for any of you that have seen me here at the clinic, we've all tried this one. So magnifier is the built-in screen magnification for Windows. Most oftentimes, the simplest way to activate magnifier is by pressing the Windows key and the plus sign. That's the plus sign that's up by the backspace key. This works on any computer. I have never had to configure it. I've never come across a computer that needed it configured. Typically, it's Windows and plus, and bang, it comes on, and it immediately increases the size of your screen. So when you press Windows and plus, you hold the Windows key down, tap the plus key. It'll increase the magnification. And you press the Windows plus again, it'll go up incrementally. I believe it's 50%. And then when it gets to 200, it goes 200, 300, 400. But you can control the increments of the magnification. But this feature is my absolute favorite. I use it everywhere. This is, in my opinion, what allows me access to a computer when I go to a library or any other place where the computer is not mine and I need to access it. So here
Just
we
remember
go.
to turn it off before you walk away.
Yeah, yeah, because then the person behind you is in a bucket of mess. You're right. So once I clicked on magnifier, the instructions that I had given you appear here. So you press the Windows logo key and the plus to turn magnifier on, Windows logo key and minus to turn it off. To get the levels to go up, this is where you can change the increments. So for those of you that may need a lot, just a little bit of magnification, you can just have the increments go up, let's say by 25. Here we have it at 50. Okay, so we can actually control how much it goes up or increases and how much it goes down. I will have to tell you that this is probably the most used option in terms of the accessibility stuff for our population. It's just so simple and easy. It just pops right up and there it is. And it just makes it so that we can increase the size anywhere we go. It's kind of like the triple tap on the Apple devices. It does the same thing. Apple calls it Zoom. Microsoft calls it magnifier. Okay. There's also another feature in magnifier. Hold on one second. Okay. The other feature in magnifier is you can have the mouse pointer read. So the other feature in magnifier is your mouse pointer becomes a talking pointer. This is great for people that are doing finances. Personally, when I do my budget, I find it extremely helpful because using magnifier, I just tell the mouse pointer to tell me what that number is because I can't trust my eyes even though it's magnified. So it's that speaking piece. If you were on the web and you wanted a paragraph read to you, you simply highlight the paragraph and it starts reading it to you right away. I'm going to see if I can show that to you now. Okay, so this is what magnifier looks like. My apologies for it being so small. Let me see if I can change that. So magnifier is a very small user interface, and it's there it goes there. It's not, it doesn't want to show it that well here. My apologies. So under magnifier, the options you have is you see the arrow that will show up with a little speaker. Jeez, I won't even show it to her. There it is. So this, you see a little play button, and some of you might be able to see a % sign. Here's where it's supposed to allow you to read. And I am so sorry that this isn't showing up well on the screen.
Oh, yeah, it's showing up on your screen, enlarged. If
Yeah.
you scroll to the left, you'll see the percentage.
Is that better?
Yeah, yeah, it says 100%.
All right, perfect. Okay, so this is what the magnifier user interface looks like. Okay, so you see the plus and the minus, that's just Windows plus and minus. Okay, and then we see a play button, and then we see an arrow with like a little speaker. If we were to click on the arrow with the speaker, that turns our mouse pointer into something that talks for us. So we just click and highlight on whatever we want, and then it reads it back to us. So it's confirming what we see.
So can
This
you
is-
go through the steps again on how to turn that on?
Absolutely. So to
Okay.
turn magnifier on, it's
Yep.
the Windows key. You
Yep.
press hold the Windows key and tap the plus key. The plus key is the key that's to the left of the backspace.
Right,
Okay. That's what turns it on. Sometimes you have to hit Windows plus for it to get to really get activated.
okay, so from there, if like you're on a web page, you would highlight it first and then this would come up with the buttons on it in the speaker, and that's what you would press?
Well, here's the thing is, what's interesting is that what you do is you first click on the button that has the arrow with the speaker.
Oh, okay,
You click on that, then you highlight like if you're on a web page, then you highlight the words that you want read on a web page. Or if you're in like a Excel document, then you just click on the number you want read. Make sense or no? Nope.
Yep.
You got it?
Okay. Yep.
It takes like a little bit of playing with it, you know?
Yep.
What does it
I
sound like?
wanna-
Is it a natural sounding voice when it reads back to you?
Well, good question, because what happens is you see the little sprocket to the left, that's where you can actually change. So right here is where I could actually change the settings to another voice. I believe the voice is Microsoft David, I think.
Okay.
And for those people that use keyboard shortcuts, so the option we're talking about that makes the mouse pointer read, it's called read from here. So if you hold the Control and the Alt key down, and then you click on the left mouse click, it'll start reading from wherever it is that you've clicked. And again, this is something that you gotta kind of play with. Please be mindful, you know, next time, like Pauline, you know, next time you're here and you just want to grab a whole, you know, get that, wrap your head around it. Just
Yeah.
ask, give me a holler and just say, hey, I'm just coming in 15 minutes early. Can you just show me that thing quick? And we'll go through it.
Okay, that would be a great idea.
Yeah, cool. So
Thank you.
and you guys can, you know, take that option if you need it. Because sometimes it takes, you know, the explanation sometimes just doesn't do it. You know,
Right.
sometimes you gotta really, you know, just kind of try it. The last thing, and this is probably really important, that you need to understand is that Microsoft, like right this time of year, Microsoft has one of their big, what they call cumulative updates that are out, along with their Net Framework update. These are two very big updates that Microsoft does, and they take a lot of time, but they also have all the updates of this. So if what you're seeing doesn't look like mine, that means that you need to do some updates on your computer. And again, if you need help with that, please call me. I'd be happy to help you. All right, this is, I will have to say, I'd be happy to spend any more time on this because most oftentimes, many of our populations, this is kind of where we'll start in terms of our access. Is right here with Magnifier. And then we'll go and tweak out some of the other things that we just talked about a few minutes ago. So I have to leave this now. I gotta stop my screen for a minute. Let me go back to the settings. Okay. All right. The one thing that I didn't get a lot into with Magnifier is there are other ways that you can view Magnifier. We like it when the whole screen, I like it when the whole screen is magnified, but you can actually magnify portions of the screen, okay? So you can make your mouse pointer turn into a lens. So like it's a little magnifying glass of its own. Here are the options that you always want checked. So we want we always want magnification to follow the mouse pointer, the keyboard focus, the text, and the narrator cursor. So we always want to keep those things. So in other words, basically the magnification follows your mouse. And that's what you want, because you're always kind of looking at the center or in the mouse. So you want all the magnification just to kind of follow along. All right. Here are a couple of other things. Now, this one here, it says, keep the text cursor centered in the screen. All right. For many of us, we have different areas, okay, within our vision that work better. some of us have little to no central vision and we're using our peripheral. So if the text cursor is following the center of the screen, that's not where our visual focus is, right? Because we're just seeing peripherally. So this is where this feature may become helpful for some individuals, depending on where your field of vision is, okay? So centered on the screen, if you've got no or little central vision, then having everything enlarged in the middle of the screen and following the middle of the screen is not going to help you. So this is oftentimes where we'll kind of play with this option. Okay, I'm just giving you some reference. So you have some idea. So if so sometimes and the thing with me is actually it's not my center of vision, but it's just down below. That's what works for me best. But I've worked with other people that have actually shown me where having the other sides of the screen move and then focusing on that was much easier because that's where their best vision was. Did that make sense? Sort of. I'm not hearing anything. That's okay. I'm okay. All right. Let's go. We're going back to the magnifier again.
Excuse me, Gloria.
Yes.
There's a lot of background talking. It's kind
Yeah, I
of
hear that.
distracting.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. That better?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yep, a lot better.
Right.
And yes, and the other thing did make sense.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. So as I scroll down, I'm still under magnifier. This is an option that's helpful to many people that we don't really realize, and that's inverting the colors. Okay, so I use myself as an example. I am very sensitive to light. So looking at a white background is not helpful for me. So for those of you that use Apples or Macs, they call it dark mode, so where the background is black and the letters are white. That is my preferred way of looking at information. And where it says invert colors, that's basically how you can make this happen, okay? The thing that I don't like about invert colors is that it inverts the colors on pictures as well. And I don't find that helpful. Apple has an option where they did something called Smart Invert, which it just inverts the backgrounds and it doesn't affect the pictures. And I haven't found that quite yet in Microsoft, but I'm still looking. I think it might be a combination of issues with turning off night mode and maybe inverting the color. So I'm going to keep playing with that. But if anybody has any feedback for that, I'm totally open. All right. As I scroll down a little bit further, remember I'm still in magnifier. It's telling me here, Pauline, or giving me guidance on how I can use that reader and what keys I need to use.
Okay,
So that may or may not be helpful, but again, love to see you.
okay.
All right. All right, so we think we're okay with magnifier? That's something you really got to dig in and play with that. It's a lot of fun. And in my opinion, most of the clients that we have, that's the very first thing I turn on, and that's how they're, they kind of take it and run. All right. The next thing is color filters. For many of us, changing the colors on the screen can be very, very helpful. And so what Microsoft has done is allowed it so that we can create all kinds of colors. Now, I do a lot with color and contrast. That's kind of how I'm able to manage most things. So for example, when going through menus, oftentimes having the mouse pointer follow along with a color is very, very helpful so that my eyes can stay on visual task, if you will. Other than that, I haven't found a whole lot of use for the color filters, other than if I work with somebody with some, say, has a chromatopsia, we just shut the colors off because all they see is grayscale anyway. But I'm certainly open to, if people have ideas about the color filters.
Just scroll down and just show us the options for the color filters, because I use it all the time. I'm wondering if Windows 11 did anything different.
So I'm scrolling down. So here I can turn the color filters on. And these are some of the options that I have here. They'll also allow me to invert it, grayscale. And then there's the keyboard shortcut for it, which is the Windows key, the Control, and the letter C. And that's how to turn color filters on and off. I never knew that. And then I'm just going to go down to, and then related settings would be, oh, dark mode and light mode. Look at that. There it is. Look at that. So here's where we can choose the dark mode. So that's, see how it goes under personalization and it's not under accessibility anymore. This is, I just found that the settings were just a little confusing in this way. All right. Now, there is more on the color stuff. Let me show you. Because this is the new stuff they put in. Scroll down. Okay. So this is where they put in, it appears to me they did some work here under contrast themes. So what they've done here is they've made different ways that you can look at your computer. So it's basically something like putting dark mode on, but then being able to add color to it. So I don't understand the wording that they've used or why they've used aquatic, desert. Doesn't look like a desert to me. But I liked some of these. Personally, I like this one, the one that's called Night Sky. It gave me nice clear black background with white letters, but also added a little bit of color so that I could navigate around. I found these contrast themes very, very helpful for many of our clients. It takes some getting used to. As they scroll down, some of the related settings would be under themes. So this is where you can just, you can actually customize those 4 points: background color, your sounds, your mouse cursor, and the color of your buttons, which is blue. Scroll down a little bit. So I guess this is a custom theme. Shows you the different backgrounds and the settings. Here's the thing is, if I point and click at any one of these, my screen will change. But again, because we're on Zoom, you won't see the change. And the very bottom one is you can browse theme. The Microsoft Store actually has a lot of themes that are free that people might like. Okay. This desktop icon settings. I also love this feature and try to use it when I can. I have to do the share thing again. There we go. Okay. So here, you can control what icons that you see on the desktop, like which ones live there, if any. And if you can change what icons look like. what I do is I set this up a lot of times for our clients where we'll just put, because usually there's no reason to put a control panel or computer, things like those. So we'll just put like the recycle bin and how to get to their files, and that's it. You know, and then we get rid of everything else just to make it clean. So that's where you would control the desktop icons. I'm just going back to another screen, my apologies. Okay. All right, and we started off in colors and in and filters. And if you notice, we're in personalization and themes now. That's where the desktop icon stuff lives. So I keep referencing that because I want everybody to kind of, it's not like Apple, you could just hit the back button and it'll take you, you know, to the previous item in the list. It doesn't work like that. You actually have to go all the way back, find the topic that you were in, and then get through it. All right, narrator. So narrator is Windows, it's always been Windows screen reader. In this, you can actually use a screen reader with a braille display. You can have it speak to you. I have to tell you that a majority of people that I know, nobody uses narrator as a screen reader. They'll use NVDA, non-visual desktop, non-visual display, something. I always forget. That's the free one, or they'll use JAWS. So not a lot of people use narrator, but like I said, it is Windows screen reader, and oftentimes we'll use it to start up the computer so that we can get into the computer, and then we'll use other assistive technologies instead of narrator. They've tried really hard. They have worked really hard to make it a good screen reader, but it tends to fall short. But it's there if you don't have anything. So if you really do need a screen reader, then go for it. I can tell you that, you know, working with many clients here, throwing on a screen reader is often very, very difficult. And if we're going to start somebody off with a screen reader, I've never done it with narrator. I mean, there's always a first time, but I've never done it with that. So do people want a full understanding of, you want me to go through the features of narrator, anything like that? So they have a guide. Here's what's interesting is it is a complete screen reader, but they don't have a lot of features, which usually most screen readers are very feature rich. So here we can change the voice. We don't have many voices. We can change the speed of the voice, the pitch. There's a guide to narrator, of course, controlling the volumes. And if you're using other input devices or audio devices, braille displays, hearing aids, any of those kinds of things. So here we can change some verbosity, how much information it gives us. So what some people like is you can actually turn narrator on so it speaks as you type. So for individuals, many of us have either forgotten the keyboard or are kind of relearning it. This is a nice way to help confirm what it is that you're typing. So you can actually make the computer type as you speak. They have a very specific key that you activate to use narrator. It's a caps lock or an insert key. But basically narrator is a screen reader. The screen reader is meant to read and provide you feedback with the information that's on the screen. Here's the interesting thing is you have to know the language of the computer. I used some terminology a little while ago, dialog box, headings, containers. If you don't know what those things are, when the screen reader speaks it to you, it's going to be just as confusing. So oftentimes, with individuals that are using a screen reader, we'll go through and we'll do some introduction to some computer vocabulary, just to make sure that, everybody is understanding. So my goal was not to really go through everything with narrator, just to give you a basic idea and introduction to what it is.
But you said there are other third-party products that are better.
Third-party products is NVDA, which is free.
Oh, yeah, I've heard it, yeah.
Yeah, many of our clients really like that particular product. And many of the other individuals use the product that's, believe it or not, most often used is JAWS, Job Access with Speech. And that seems to be the one that's most popular. Obviously, that's a paid, that's a subscription-based service.
That-
You don't pay for the license anymore like you used to. It's more of a subscription now.
Does that have a lot more features to it though than?
JAWS, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
feature rich. You can pretty much get that thing to run on anything.
Okay,
But what a lot of people do is they'll start off with NVDA. There's a lot of crossover, a lot of the same keyboard commands. A lot of similarities. So many individuals will start with NVDA and kind of get the biggest bang for their buck first. And then if they find they're having issues, then they go with JAWS. If you're working for the state, if you're working for like neighborhood health, any of those medical places, if you're doing any kind of work like that, don't bother with NVDA, go right to JAWS. And the reason for that is because many of the computers that you're going to be working on are very secured, and JAWS has a better time working in that kind of an environment than NVDA does. NVDA is a free and open source software. So it's kind of like the Android software. So changes can happen unexpectedly. So most oftentimes people in the workplace will opt to using JAWS versus NVDA. Just some background.
Okay.
All right. So I'm still in the accessibility listing here, and after narrator we have some hearing options. So we can make it so that all the audio runs through one channel instead of two. That's if somebody has a hearing issue, it's better in one ear than both, that kind of thing. And then we can also get captions now. We can have captions read to us, which is also very helpful. So we can have the captions, we can increase and decrease the size of the font. We can have the captions on the bottom, the top, the left, the right. So we have all kinds of options there. All right, this is the beefy one, and I know a lot of people are going to ask a lot of questions about this, I hope. Speech or speech recognition. So everybody wants to talk instead of typing because it's so much quicker. Okay, but let's think about this for a minute. We're visually impaired, we're talking, it's typing. Can you see what it's typing? I can't see what it's typing. How are we going to confirm what it's typing? Okay, most oftentimes I really encourage people to learn the keyboard, learn how to type. You'd be in much more control of your computer typing than you would have using your voice. Using your voice, there's still some inconsistencies. Okay, I just want people to understand a little bit of my background. I've been using and beta testing voice recognition since 1993. I've worked with Dragon Naturally Speaking, many of those other programs, along with many individuals on varying abilities. So my experience with speech recognition is this. For those people that are totally blind, you need to have a screen reader along with speech recognition program running at the same time. Think about the knowledge that you have to get that to happen. Okay. So because the first thing people want to do is, I'm losing my vision, I need to type, I want to do all this stuff. Well, there's speech recognition, I can use that. Just remember, you're talking on the screen, but you can't see what's being typed. Okay, you usually have to go back and have it read back to you. No speech recognition program works hand in glove unless you have Dragon Naturally Speaking, along with a third-party program called JSay. Okay, those two programs used to work together with JAWS. There's three of them: JAWS, Dragon, and JSay. Okay, and what JSay would do is JSay would be the intermediary between the voice recognition software and the screen reading software. Okay, but it's very complex. You need to have a user that is very familiar with the operating system, how everything works, and believe it or not, you still have to have a command of the keyboard, because there are many times you have to go to the keyboard to get some features to come up. So I just want to paint a real picture, okay, about voice recognition. I'm not saying don't try it, I'm saying go for the gusto, but I just want you to know the learning curve that you're up against. They make it look and sound very, very easy, but it's complex. Now, with all that being said, there is still a lot you can do with voice recognition, such as when it comes to commanding your computer. I thought I hit voice recognition, and then just something else. Please hold. Okay, there we go. Okay. So there are different ways that you can get voice recognition to work for you instead of just full dictation. So you can get so the top example here that you're seeing in the features list is what's called voice typing, and a lot of us do that with our Apple products, and you can do that now with Windows products. And so the keyboard shortcut is the Windows and the letter H. Okay, and that's what activates the microphone. Okay, and that's where you can do what they call voice typing. There's something different called Windows speech recognition. That's where you're controlling the device. Okay, you're saying things like open Microsoft Word, open Google Chrome, go to morningstar.com, where you're commanding the machine. So voice typing and commanding the machine, two different things. So I found greater success with individuals using voice recognition, controlling their machine, than I have with voice typing. Okay, so it's a little different. And of course it takes practice. Right. So just with the introduction to voice recognition, I'll give you a couple of tips. Oftentimes, the microphone that's in your computer is not good enough for voice recognition. You need a much better microphone, okay? And I'm not saying go all out and buy, the $200 Yeti microphone. That's not what I'm saying. I've actually got this to work with $17 little boom microphone that you can get on Amazon. But again, it's for short things. It's not for, writing your dissertation, it's for short things that are not so professional. Sending a short note to son or daughter. If you're a very good computer user already and you want to try voice recognition, knock yourself out. If you're relatively new and still learning the keyboard, you're going to struggle. So anybody that's interested in voice recognition, if you'd like to come in and explore it more, I'd love to be your support and help you with any of that if you feel that that's something that you'd like to do. Questions?
Mentioned the difference in mics. Is there a mic that actually picks up, let's say you're having a meeting, in a room and you got like 5-6 people that would pick up everybody's voice?
So a noise canceling microphone, is that what you're, so they would pick up everybody in the room that's speaking at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, typically what happens with voice recognition is it wants to learn the person that's talking. So it will learn you and not necessarily everybody around you.
Thank you.
There is an app, though, on the iPhone that'll do that. It'll actually record several people talking and type it out. It's a,
Actually, I don't have an iPad.
okay. It's used for the deaf and hard of hearing.
Does it work best with a headset with like a boom microphone or something like that?
That's when it works best.
Okay.
It works best with the headset. You know, we have at least one earpiece and then the boom microphone. Because oftentimes voice recognition, there's a lot of determining factors. So the noise within your area that you're in, okay? Any kind of background noise, just like you guys heard people talking in the background, a microphone and using speech recognition would recognize sound in your area. If the music is playing, it's going to recognize that. If the fire truck goes by, it's going to recognize that. Mom yells out, hey, it's time for dinner. It's going to recognize that. So what happens is it needs to just learn you in a quiet environment with you speaking. And you can't speak the way I'm speaking. You got to speak more like the newscasters speak. Slow and steady with a single kind of monotone voice, using punctuation when you can. So
If you're
that's
using a-
more or less.
If
Yes,
you're using a laptop, you'll even get interference from like the computer's fan running. You'll
Yes.
hear a.
that's
it'll totally
the,
mess you up.
yep, that was one of the biggest issues that we had when we were beta testing and working a lot with Dragon, was trying to find a laptop computer that had a fan that was quiet enough, you know, so that it didn't interfere. So yeah, anything will interfere, and it wants to learn you and your voice and not anybody else's. So if it gets anything different, I remember I had a cold one time and I had a really good voice file, like I could dictate pretty well. I got a cold. As soon as I got a cold, I didn't know who I was anymore.
I noticed that people who have the solid state hard drives, the computer is much quieter.
Yes, yep, you're right. All right, the keyboard. So most of you guys know that, you know, you can do things 10 times faster with keyboard than you can with the mouse. Right? So that being said, there's usually a keyboard shortcut for most of the things that you can do with a mouse. But there are some people that can't use those keyboard shortcuts due to lack of mobility, due to arthritis, due to using one hand, you know, a lot of different things. The fact that their hands don't work as fast. So what the options that you're seeing here are sticky keys, filter keys, and something called toggle keys. This is something that Microsoft has built in ever since the beginning of time. So basically what sticky keys mean is, let's say that it's difficult for you to press two keys at the same time. Alt tab, for example. If you turn sticky keys on, it'll make it so that if I tap the Alt key, it'll stick until I tap the next key, and then they'll both release. So that's kind of how sticky key works. So once you turn it on, it makes it so that a modifier key will stay down. A modifier key is the Alt, the Control, Windows, Shift. It's a key that you press in conjunction with something else that gets something to happen. So with sticky keys, it basically will stick the first key until you press the second key and then release them both so that you don't have to use two hands, two fingers, what have you.
Gloria,
Yes.
I just noticed Janice,
Hello, Janice. Good to see
and
you right here.
I don't have closed caption on. She would probably want it.
I don't have, we don't
Hi.
have,
How you doing?
I don't have it,
You had closed caption on.
don't have it.
Okay.
The next is filter keys. So filter keys is the sensitivity of the keyboard so that it can, so that it doesn't, so sometimes if you press one button, sometimes when you press one button, it will it doesn't quite understand it. So what filter keys does is it makes it so that, sometimes there are
Wait,
some
wait,
people
wait.
drag
I
their
gotta
hand
shut this door. Wait. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I'm on a Zoom meeting. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I can't get it
Give me
off.
one
please.
second, give me 1 second, I'm trying to see if I can help her out. Oh, she left. Hold on. I'm just going to share the screen, my apologies. All right. Supposedly the captionings are on. All right. So filter keys is for somebody who does not stay right on a key. Let's say they may hit 2 keys by accident before they get to the key that they want. What filter keys does is it makes it so that it forgets the first 2 keys that you press, and it waits until you stay on a key for a certain amount of time before it types it. This is again for somebody with maybe a stroke patient, somebody that's had difficulty, maybe with some Parkinson's where they shake a little bit. That's where the filter keys will come in handy. Toggle keys, it just plays a sound. Certain keys like the caps lock key, if it's on, for some people, it makes a light, but the light doesn't do many of us any good. So what toggle keys does is it'll make a sound to let you know that you pressed the caps lock key. Like I said, these particular features have been around for a very, very long time. All right. On-screen keyboard, anybody know, you guys? So on the Apple computers and Androids, as soon as you hit a text box, a screen comes up on the bottom of your screen. Well, you can actually you can get an on-screen keyboard to come up on your Windows device. They are the ones that actually came out with this first, so that you could use a mouse to actually type on the keyboard. The real reason why they came out with the on-screen keyboard was for eye gaze. Anybody know what eye gaze is? Eye gaze is so that the camera on your computer looks at where your eyes are pointing. And if you rest your eyes on a specific area, it'll actually work like a mouse. That's what eye gaze was meant to do. So for individuals that had no use of their hands, no functional use, so they couldn't use a keyboard and mouse, they could actually use their eyes. And it takes a lot of practice, but it is an accessibility option. And that's actually why they created the on-screen keyboard, although a lot of individuals use a mouse pointer with an on-screen keyboard. This next feature is just, you can under any key that may be an access key, you can get it to underline, which is a little help to us. And then here, oftentimes doing a print screen and opening that screen tool is very difficult. So you can actually turn it on here and use it as an accessibility feature. They've also added into these, yes, question? No, okay. They've also added here typing, so things like spell check. Everybody know what autocorrect is? No? That's the thing that many of the computers do when you go to try to type something, and then it thinks you want something else, and it types that instead.
Yep. Changes your text all around.
That's right, Pauline's got it. You got it. Yep, exactly. And so they
Yes.
call text suggestions. So here you can actually turn some of those, this is where you can change some of that stuff and turn it off if you want to. So you can, so here is where all of those options are. I'll be honest with you, in terms of like real accessibility, I haven't really needed to use these. I'm just going back to accessibility. All right, so now these are interactions. So this is mouse keys. So you can actually, if you have a keyboard that has the numeric keypad, you can turn that keypad into a mouse. So basically, if you think about the 8 and the 2 is up and down, the 4 and the 6 is left and right, and then the 5 would be like a click. Okay, so you could actually get those keys to work. And then we talked a few minutes ago about eye gaze. They call it eye control here. So this is where you can use something called an eye tracker to, in conjunction with your camera, to be able to type in text and to navigate your computer. And I'm not going to demonstrate the eye gaze. That takes, you have to do, there's a lot of practice and coordination you have to do in conjunction with your camera and your eyes to get that to work. And it takes a little while, but it's important for us to know that it's out there. You know, once we know it's out there, then we can go and play with it. But if we don't know it's there, we can't play with it. How's everybody feeling?
Good.
Good.
Mhm.
So for the most part, those are the big accessibility options. And a lot of these are new. They haven't come across in Windows 10 yet. And they certainly do not appear anything like this. Before, Windows was using something they call ease of access. And they were trying to keep all the accessibility in there. I seem to like, even though it's a little tricky, I still like this option better because I can always go back to the accessibility and find what I want. So like I said, magnifier is probably the one that we use the most because it's just the Windows and the plus and the minus. But I want to talk a little bit about how do you do that in a web browser? How do you increase the text size in a web browser really, really quick? Control plus, control minus. So oftentimes, instead of using magnifier, where we've got, the screen's got to move, depending on what our vision and vision abilities are, we can always increase the size of the text within the browser itself, okay? A point to note. When you increase the size of the print, there are other items that are on the web page, pictures, videos, you know, little captions, advertisements. So once you increase the text size, what the web page does is redirects those items. So for example, if I have a heading on the top and then a picture on the very right-hand side, if I increase the size of the font will get bigger and that picture is going to move down in the page. And the picture itself doesn't get bigger, just the text. Oftentimes for many of us, that's a quick accessibility tool. I also find it very helpful if you're working on some web things and you know you've got people working with you. So sometimes just doing the control plus and the control minus, that works on a Windows machine. On a Mac machine, it's command plus, command minus, and it works the same. So you can do that both in a browser on a Windows or a Mac using that control plus and minus, and it just controls the font. That's it. So with all these accessibility options, I can give you a couple of helpful ideas. First of all, if you want to, you know, kind of review this presentation, go to YouTube and type in Windows 11 accessibility. There's a couple of really nice videos in there on the Windows 11 accessibility. The next question is, people are going to say is, Windows 11, if you have a license of Windows 10 and you're in your settings, checking your updates, there is an area there that will tell you if your computer is ready for Windows 11 or not. And depending on how old or how new your computer is, oftentimes you can download Windows 11 right from your updates area. So the first thing, just some feedback, the first thing I urge you to do is check your updates. When you check your updates, directly under your updates, it'll say Windows 11 is available. Do you want to check your PC to see if it's ready? And you can do that. You can check to see if your PC is ready, and it'll tell you if your computer can manage it or not, can handle all of Windows 11 or not. And if it can, you can feel free, you can install it right from there. And what it does is it uses the license key that you have from Windows 10. So there's no purchase. Again, that's if you have a computer that's about a year old. The older computers, I'm not sure how the licensing works. I can't get a straight answer from anybody. Just so if anybody has an answer, I'm open.
My laptop is a few years old, and it asked me if I wanted to update to Windows 11.
Oh,
And
cool.
I said
All right.
yes. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yep. So some of the other things that Windows 11 does is it changed the whole start menu.
Yeah.
So now the start menu, it looks a lot, I hate to do this, but it just looks a lot like a Mac, how the dock sits at the bottom. So what the dock is, it has all the icons of all the typical apps or programs that you use on the bottom. So now that's kind of where everything lives for Windows. And when you hit the little Windows key, the 4 little windows in it, it brings the dialog box. It's not this big, huge alphabetical list with all these widgets and everything. It's just, and actually for our visual purposes, it's really nice. Let me see if I can show that to you.
The time is now 17 minutes past 11 a.m.
Yeah, it won't let me show it. It's not a window that'll allow you to preview on the screen, unfortunately. But I will.
It doesn't let you show the whole desktop?
No, it won't even let me see the desktop at all. So I'm trying one more time. Yeah, it won't let me share the screen, the desktop screen. See if it'll. No, that was this. See if it'll show.
There you go.
There it is, right there. All right. So that's the bottom. So the bottom of the screen shows like the windows, and then there's a little magnifying glass. So here it shows your icons. They're in a little grid, small grid. It kind of looks like a home screen on an Apple device or a tablet device. So you've got all your icons that you typically use, of course, starting with Microsoft Edge and the Microsoft apps. But you also have your shut off area here, and you can also type and search. So this is like the biggest change. So there's no more start menu. This is the start menu. And this is also what pops up when you just press the Windows key by itself. So, and none of these, I don't think I haven't customized this at all. So this is just the way that it appears when you install Windows 11. Any other questions? Nope.
Folder. Title is Zoom meeting.
I'm sorry, it was kind of, I was
Button. Mute button.
chatting a
Mute
lot
button.
and,
Mute
you know,
button.
just
Play
going
button.
through all
I
the
have a
settings.
question. This is
Yeah,
Amy.
go ahead, Lynn.
I just got Windows 11 2 weeks ago on the 11th of February. I saw the no start menu. I was like, whoa, weird. Like when I press the Windows key, Jaws just says search box edit, and I have to type in like what I'm looking for, like documents. I type in the documents folder, and or I tab to file explorer, and then hit D for documents, and it's there. So it's a whole new, whole new thing to get used to.
It is, you know, a lot of the keyboard shortcuts still work. Like if you want to go to documents, if you press the Windows key and the letter E for Explorer, opens right up, bang.
Oh, okay. I don't have to go through the taskbar and all this other. Yeah, I used to like start menu, and then you could hit like.
Yeah, you just hit start and then the first letter of whatever it was you were looking for. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but then like when you hit start menu, hit P for programs, or no, called apps or whatever. You can
Right.
see all the stuff that's installed on your.
Mhm.
Now you can't do that. You
No, it works
have to
a
go
little
to the file explorer thing.
different. You're right, and then do a search.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
all. So I created a lot of shortcuts from my desktop
Perfect,
to get
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll call you.
Oh God, no. I'm still learning. It's way different.
It is, it's a curve. It is definitely a curve. I found the biggest, believe it or not, many changes, all just in the settings. It's set up very, very different. So just even doing this presentation, I had to go through the whole thing all over again, just like I was learning it new. The whole settings area is very different. That's why I kept alluding to the fact that always go back to the accessibility, because when you get into the related items, it takes you to different topic areas. And usually we just want to go back. That's like the typical thing we do. And we do have a back button in this dialog box, but going back is not going to take us to accessibility. So for instance, if we were in personalization colors, it would just take us back to personalization. So that's where I think they fell a little short. Having the ability to just go back, especially in the settings, would have been so much easier than the way it is now. But
Richard Moreau.
Joined the meeting.
hey, Richard,
Hi, how are you?
doing good. How are you?
Good.
Good. So I'll send you the recording on the accessibility stuff. We pretty much kind of went through most of it. I think now we're kind of just doing some Q&A, and then if anybody had topics with regards to the discovery
Folder
session.
mute. Currently unmute.
I have a question. Now on the Real Tech Audio, when you're setting up your audio, now there's like, before, like you didn't have to there's like front jacks on your computer for your microphone and headphone type deal. Now you have to go on the audio and like check things off. Like, okay, I want the front jacks to be basically when you plug them in, your headphones, it'll go right to your headphones, So that's a new thing too. I don't know if you found that.
It is a new thing. The other thing that I found is many of the headphones and stuff that I use are always usually Dragon certified, and they take two jacks. and the computers don't have those jacks anymore.
No.
Oftentimes, it's just a USB port. So it's finding the adapter for that.
Yeah, so yes, I don't know if I did it right. So I haven't tried headphones on the front jacks yet.
Mm.
Where you have to check off a setting, and I'm like, so it's a new.
It is new, and you're absolutely right. The whole sound issue is different. Most of it's done via USB, and so then you have to just go into your sound settings.
Now, do you have to? Can you get like a USB headphone?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, like what
That's
kind do
pretty.
you?
That's pretty much what's out now. That's what we have here in the office.
Well, because I went and bought myself a new pair of headphones, and I'm like, oh, and I didn't even notice it. Just a regular, 3.5 jack there. So I'm thinking I have to go buy no. So I won't frustrate myself and try to screw something up here. Just
Mhm.
easier to buy myself new headphones. So, do you recommend any kind? Just
I don't have one off the top of my head. The one in my office, I can send you the brand that I'm using in the office right now.
And it's a USB.
It is a USB, yeah. What I like about this particular one is it has controls on the wire.
Oh, that's what I would like. Yeah, yeah.
Which means I don't have to go into the settings of my computer. And by the way, Ange, to get into your sound settings is Windows A.
Oh, I you know what I do? I actually type in the thing real, and then it comes up.
Okay, fine. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good, good.
So
Yeah,
I'm just like, it's gotten me conditioned now, typing and everything, and I'm like, I don't like typing and everything. I used to like the quick things, and I was like, oh, what the hell, So.
We get spoiled.
And I did
Also-
use a narrator because to get my serial number for JAWS to get that set up.
Yep.
So I did. You used to do Windows U to turn the stupid thing on. No, it didn't work. So I had to do the start and then type in the word narrator, and it popped up.
Yeah.
So
All new stuff. Fun times. Go ahead. What you have, Richard?
I don't use a computer at all, but I'm just I don't know what really Angie's talking about, but I think I know. If she has a headset that has, I'll call it the male end, and it's a USB port in the computer. How about, remember that jack that you showed us, Gloria? That's $10 jack. Can that be used for the computer? You remember it's a USB to, female end?
Yeah, I
You know
think
what
I
I'm
know.
describing?
Yeah. Yep, I know what you're describing. Yep. If you
So
don't.
that would help in, I don't know if that's what Angie's particularly saying, is her headset's a male end and it's a USB port into the computer. Wouldn't that work? That jack?
It could. I will tell you this, that having, if you're going to do any kind of speech recognition, you should have a microphone or a headset that plugs in, not a Bluetooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want speech recognition. I just want it like, when I'm doing JAWS, and it's like late
Then
at
you
night.
you don't have to use plug-in headphones then if you don't want to. If your computer, which it's new, I'm sure it has Bluetooth already in it.
Yeah,
You can just use Bluetooth. You can use your Apple AirPods or and just connect those. We just don't advise using Bluetooth if you're doing speech recognition. You
But
need to have it plugged in.
I do like the wired ones with a control, like you said, if you can send me that, because
I'll
I
send
had
you
it.
that information.
Yeah, because I'll buy them because I like having the control on the wire, so.
Mhm.
And-
personally-
yeah.
Gloria? May I ask Discovery questions, or are we still in the computer segment?
No, we're in Q&A. Go for it.
Okay. I'm at the movie theater several times. Well, I just went recently, and I used that lovely descriptive headset, which I
Oh,
love. Now, is there a home-based model? Because I know my uncle 75, we bought him a headset for hearing impaired. But is there such a headset for, audio descriptive to attach to the TV?
there are hearing things that you can attach. So there's two separate issues here.
Yeah.
One issue is
It's the one
the movie
at the
itself
Showcase
has,
Cinema.
yeah.
I'm sorry. The
So
one
the
at the
first thing-
Showcase Cinema is one headset, and either you switch it on for hearing impaired, to make it louder, or you switch it up that I use for audio descriptive. And what I usually do is I keep one earpiece on my right ear, and I keep my left ear open to hear the movie itself, to hear the dialogue. That's how I wear them. It's like I wear the headset half cocked on my head, kind of.
Yeah.
You can picture that,
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, do they make them for home TV
So from
headset?
from what I understand is there's two pieces here. First, the movie has to have the audio description. If
Yeah.
it doesn't, it doesn't matter what you connect to it, it's still not gonna get it. The second issue
Yeah.
is, and the answer is yes. There is a way that you can listen and get the audio description if you are hard of hearing. So there is, it's called TV ears, is the name of the device. We
TV?
have, yep, TV
Okay.
ears.
Okay.
But again, two separate pieces, so you'd wanna make sure that the movie that you're watching has the description, and then you plug in TV ears, and then you get both.
Now, I've been to the Showcase, and I would say a good 99.9% of the movies are audio descriptive.
Cool.
So, do you have any idea with television? Are they really? I think this was an NFB discussion, if I remember right, Angie, a while back, whether the NFB was trying to push
Currently unmuted. Oh,
TV dialogues to make it audio descriptive for us, I believe. couple
It's
years
depending
ago?
on the stations and the programs
Yeah.
itself that do it. It's not like universal.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's those headphones, are useless if they did have
Yeah.
a model for that, because then you have to see what kind of equipment you have and all that.
Yeah.
The other option that you might
Okay.
try is there are a lot of DVDs that come out with an audio description channel, and also a lot of
Yeah.
the streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus. They also have in their audio options an audio description. So I've been seeing that pop up a lot more often.
Yeah.
And for that, you
Oh.
can you turn it on, you play the movie, and that's it. You don't even need any extra equipment. It just describes it right through the TV.
Yeah, depending on the
Excellent.
program.
Yeah. Because I buy a lot of movies, or I buy series from my Apple TV app, and I can't think. There's 2 or 3 movies I purchased. Bohemian Rhapsody, for example, about the Queen band. That was automatically in audio descriptive mode when I played it. And The Wizard of Oz, I think, is an automatic descriptive mode.
Yeah, it
I didn't even
depends.
touch it.
Yeah, it depends on the makers. It depends on a whole
Yeah.
list of factors.
I was amazed when I started playing Bohemian Rhapsody. It was talking in my ears and telling me all the dead spaces, and I thought that was the coolest thing, but apparently that's not available for every single one, because I have other
these
movies
machines have
that
left the meeting.
are not,
Gloria, I have another question.
Go for it.
What is this voice assistant thing that keeps popping up here? Like this like little dialogue that keeps popping up, voice assistant.
So voice assistant in Microsoft is called Cortana.
Uh-huh.
So, every device, it seems like we got this voice assistant. So Samsung's got Bixby, Google's got Alexa, Apple's got Siri, Microsoft's got Cortana. So basically, she's your voice assistant. You can ask her to, and the thing of it is you got to give her a little bit of training, so she has to understand who you are. And that goes along with the voice recognition piece. They just didn't call it Cortana. But that's who it is. So
What I like about that,
yeah, go ahead.
you can type your request in, and then it shows like, I don't know, I said something stupid like, how do I look for my Gmail on the computer? And it says, here are 6 results on Bing and how to do that, so like, but it's like on the side,
Mhm. Yep. But you're using it with JAWS.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
And then I noticed on the system tray, like I checked off where I want JAWS on the system tray, and it's not there.
No, the system tray is very different.
Yeah.
Yep, I don't like that. I liked it easy. The system tray was a nice linear way of getting to the features very quickly.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore. There's like 7 things on there. I don't even know what half of them mean. So
yeah, I agree with you.
I want my old Windows back. I don't want to.
Gloria.
I don't want to evolve.
Right.
I know Angie has a new phone, and I don't know who else is here, but I have the 13 mini, and I went from the 7 to the 13 mini, which is big evolution for me. I used to press the power button to just power off. I keep my phone on 99% of the time. Very seldom I'll shut it down. But the other day, Tuesday night, I went to the movie, so I have to shut it down. I thought I had it shut down. In the middle of the movie, somebody calls me, so I frantically shut it down. Now, either I'm pressing the 2 buttons together and I'm screenshotting, or like I talked to Mary Abby the other day, and I pressed the down button and the power button, and I almost called 911 for God's sake.
No, this is what you have to do. You have to hold the lock button and the up volume button. Then you hear like a little that little noise, like boop. And then you swipe to the left and it'll say power off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
it vibrates.
I went into
like
the settings.
No. You vibrate. It does like a little short vibrate, and then it does like a boop noise. And then you swipe to the left, and then that's how you do it. Because I almost did that too. I'm like, holy.
Yeah. Did you guys know that if you press the sleep wake button 5 times, it starts the emergency SOS?
Yes.
Yeah.
I found out the hard way.
I went into the settings after the fact, and I turned off all those things like I told Mary Abby. There was 3 different questions, and I put no on all of them, So like I told Mary Abby, will that solve the automatic call? So say I guess if I press this button for more than 5 or 10 seconds, it will activate the SOS. But now they went into settings and said no to these 3 things. I disengaged that. Am I correct, Gloria?
What you disengage, yes, you did. But I'm just going to tell you, when you go to shut your phone off now, instead of the 2 options you had before, which was slide to shut off or the X to cancel, now in the middle of the screen, you'll have the ability to make an emergency SOS call.
Yeah.
Well,
but you'll have to swipe to get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm still going by. I mean, I can't see my screen at all, but I'm going by voice over, and I still hear. The icon is still there. I think the SOS, the medical ID, and then all the way to the left is power off. I think it's power off to the left, medical ID next, and then SOS is the third to the right.
Yeah.
It's still there, but as far as I know, since I shut them off in settings, it won't automatically go.
It
That's
still
what I'm
will.
assuming.
It still will.
Okay.
If you
And-
press it
So I'll
5
have to
times,
just
it
be
won't, but if you
careful.
touch it there, it will.
And then also
Is
when you press the
is
sleep
there
mode-
another way to shut off the phone other than
No.
these 2 buttons?
Nope. I called Apple
I-
Accessibility and I asked them and they said no.
Yeah, because I know Gloria and Mary Abby taught us about these accessibilities, double tapping the screen and all that, swipe up and stuff. I didn't know if it was in there, you know.
And also, I found a trick.
No.
If
Yeah.
anybody uses Apple Pay or whatever to pay, or you want to use if you hit the sleep wake button 2 times real fast, it'll bring up, how do you want to pay? You want to use your Apple Pay or your credit card? Like, and then you could pick which one, and then you could bring it to the card reader instead of like going into the wallet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't use that. I don't understand the Apple Pay and the wallet at all. I
Gloria, you
guess
know what
I'm
I'm
a
talking about?
novice.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, isn't that great? You just hit it twice real fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
I don't
I was-
like, I don't like that, the way you turn off the phone. I don't like it at all.
No, I don't either. I actually I worked with a client and it was very, very traumatic for her. She's still like,
Yeah.
about it. It was, yeah, because what happens is for those of you that don't know, what happens is when you press it 5 times, it starts off with this siren. It goes woo, woo,
Yup.
woo,
Yup.
and it does that like 5 times, and then if you don't do anything, it's calling 911.
Yep.
Oh my God. And
But that
you know,
noise that it makes, it's really, and again, you're a voiceover user, you got that woo, woo, and you're trying to swipe to get to the cancel button, and it's woo, woo. You're trying to get
and you know what was funny is I got my phone, I got hearing aids, so the phone is in my hearing aids, you know, it's Bluetooth in both hearing aids. So I'm in the theater. I thought I shut it off, but my aunt calls me in the middle of the show. So the song is going off for my ringtone, you know, and the climb is going off for my ringtone. I'm like, shoot. So I'm trying to shut it down. And then I didn't realize, I guess I activated it because later on I checked the screen and it said that there was a mistaken call. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in this movie called Blacklist. There's shootings and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, if 911 heard that shit, I'm in trouble. They would have sent East Greenwich and Warwick SWAT team to the showcase if they tracked me, you know? I hear shooting in the background. I said, oh my God, I got to find a way to get this off. And then I called Mary Abby the day after, and she's playing around with her phone, and she thought she activated hers. I said, well, you better go to the lobby and check in with the Warwick police if they come. Because she thought she set hers off to 911 too. But I just don't like that.
No,
You know?
I'll tell you a very quick story. So I'm mowing the lawn. I put my phone in my back pocket. I've got my earbuds on, right? Good song comes on. I reach in my back pocket and I think that I'm pressing the volume button. So I press the volume button a bunch of times. I'm not counting, bing, 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 right? At first it didn't go up, then it went up. So I'm like, fine. I continue cutting the lawn. I go one way, I come back, I go the other way, I come back. When I come back, there's 4 fire trucks coming up the street, the police, everybody.
Oh my God.
Yep, it was in my pocket. For some reason, I didn't hear the whoop whoop because I'm mowing the lawn.
Oh my God.
All I heard was the music go up. I didn't hear the siren. I turned around and the guy's like, we got a 911 call, you all right?
Oh my word.
So, yeah,
God.
that was my story. I
No,
had my phone in my
It's a good
pocket.
one. It's a
Yeah,
good
so
one.
I just reached in my pocket. I thought I knew where the volume button was. I hit it a few times. I went on my
You should-
merry way.
You should have said, yes, I need help cutting the grass, which
Yeah, yeah. Grab the trimmers. Come on, guys.
Exactly.
But okay, when I'm done with the phone call, doesn't it go to like screen? I don't know the term, like screen save mode. You know, so what are we doing? We're hitting the button that opens up the phone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It goes in silent mode, right? Or if you don't touch the phone, doesn't it go into like?
Just goes into sleep.
What do
It
you
goes to
call it?
sleep.
it
Sleep
takes a
mode,
few,
thank you.
it takes
That's
a
the
few,
word.
it takes a few seconds. You can press the side button on the right and it'll turn the
You'll wake
screen
up.
off.
Yeah.
Well, you can
You'll
turn it
wake up
off.
then. Okay. Yeah.
It does both.
Okay.
Yep.
So that was my other question. So, I mean, you obviously you have an iPhone, Gloria.
Yeah.
So that was my other question, which I never wanted to use. If my phone does activate 911, it should know the location?
It should. It'll know
On
your
my
location
phone?
based on if your location services are turned on, then they'll know your
Oh,
location.
okay.
If you turn
and
off
where is that in the where is that in the
location,
settings? I don't
I
even
think
know.
it's privacy.
Okay, I have no
I
clue.
believe.
I'll have to look at it.
I have to look again too, because it's not something that I go for
Yeah.
often.
It's under privacy settings,
Yeah, that's what I feel.
and then
Okay.
it says location services on, off.
Yeah, it's the very
Mine-
first one
Okay.
under privacy.
Mine's on
So I'll-
because, I use the
Okay.
GPS feature, and then when you use Uber and Lyft,
Yeah.
it turns on live location, they can find you better.
Okay, good. I'll make sure mine is on.
Mhm.
Gloria, I have a question on Windows 11.
Right.
Like, I have my Outlook open, and every time a stupid email comes in, JAWS reads it out loud. I'm like, no, I just want to hear the ding and not the email read out loud. Even though if it I have it open, but I have it minimized, the background there.
Mhm.
And every notification JAWS reads, and I'm like, no.
5 notifications. AccuWeather. Now, 11:47 a.m.
Just like the phone, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Yep.
I turned off the notifications and it did it anyway. So, I want
That's a good one. I'm gonna have to look into that one.
on Apple, you can go and go on the lock screen. You can turn off your notifications. How do you do it? So JAWS doesn't read every bloody hell thing. If the maintenance man is fixing the kitchen faucet, I don't want him to hear my email.
Right, of course. Yep. I don't have the answer right off the bat, but I'll look it up for you, Ange. So
I'm
two
using
things.
JAWS.
I'm gonna send you the microphone information, and I'm gonna look up notifications for JAWS.
I'm using JAWS 2022, the latest.
Okay, yep. All right, good. Do my best.
Gloria, just FY. I'm sorry.
And I do like the
Just
new
FYI.
feature.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Richard.
I like
Just
the new-
FYI. You don't have to send me the link for the earlier discussion, because I don't own a computer, so the earlier discussion is no good for me.
Okay.
Just to save you a couple keystrokes.
I do
Okay.
like the new feature with JAWS. What it does is you can with Alt V then B, you can put the JAWS on one side and do your zooms on the other side,
Yep.
and then you can put it back. That's what I'm doing now. I have and it's really helpful. The only thing I wish we could figure out is without muting, people will hear my JAWS. And is there a way that in the Zoom setting or something that I could type and people not hear the JAWS, or do I have to mute and then do it that way?
That's another really good one. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Because what I have to do, what I have to do now is like I do a lot of, obviously, if I'm looking at a PowerPoint presentation or something, I have to mute and then put the earbud in for the, the one side, and then just do it that way. And it's such a pain. So
I'm just writing it down.
I do come up with some things pretty good sometimes.
Those are good. Those are good ones.
It doesn't happen all the time though. So
So don't expect it, is that it?
yeah. So
All right.
all right, I'll shut up now.
No, no, this is great. Anybody else got any tips, tricks, or things for us to dig into and look up and all that good fun stuff? You guys got any new ideas? Chris is getting ready to start put together a program, and I'm looking for my ideas from you guys.
I have one.
Go for it.
Like, you know how you did the windows with just like the low vision stuff?
Yep.
You should do like a specific one for like low vision, and then another one for like screen readers. So that way, like, I don't know, somebody like me doesn't get lost.
So
when you talk about-
separate them.
yeah, when you talk about colors, and I'm like, oh, what is she talking
Okay,
about?
yep.
Pointers and all
Right.
that. I know nothing about those kinds of things. I mean, I know what a mouse is. Obviously, I know what a pointer is, but
Sure.
yeah,
But
yeah,
in the future, you're just saying maybe separate some of these so people that with vision will know, people without vision will know.
or then sometimes you can integrate them too, because might be like people who are losing their vision that might need to
Okay.
form into a screen reader, or maybe like one day do a mixture of the two and then another day have separate.
Okay.
So it's a seamless migration and like maybe universal design.
Got it.
Type
Okay.
deal.
All right.
All
Is
right.
there anything?
Promise I'll shut up now.
No. Is
No,
there?
don't do that. You are
Yeah,
you're
don't do that.
helping the rest of us.
That's right. It's helpful. So are there any other programs or things that are out there that you guys would like to be educated on? Android, Apple, Windows, anything? And it doesn't have to be like a computer or phone. I mean, it could be something else.
I have another idea.
Go for it.
Like those of us with a voiceover, like I know I have trouble cutting and pasting. Like, is there a way that we could do
So
like,
just do like voiceover cutting and pasting.
yeah, cutting and pasting and editing, and then
Well, cutting, this is a pain in the backside, so yeah, I totally get it.
yeah, and like with and then with
Yeah.
some keyboards and then without keyboards, because if you're like on the go or something, you're not going to carry a keyboard with you. I have like the mini one that Mary Abby showed me. It folds in half and has like a leather binding.
Yep.
But like, sometimes you just want to, like, you want to copy something, and then it's a pain. And I'm like, Pauline,
No,
copy
I
this for
agree.
me, Like, I'm always turning off voiceover and have her do something for me because with a voiceover driving me nuts. So
Yep. That's a huge lesson that
Yeah.
we do with our clients. So that would be really cool. Yep.
I mean, I'll sign up privately. I don't know if that's feasible, but
Yep. Anything's possible.
those are my ideas.
Okay. What do you got, Richard?
In my little experience, I don't know if Angie's talking about the cell phone or computer.
Cell phone.
Which one I use?
I'm
Well,
talking about.
like I said, I don't own a computer. I work off of my iPhone solely, period.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you're
Okay,
when you're copying and
what-
editing on a cell phone, like with pages.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I work in the notes folder that I don't have any experience with Word or Pages or anything else. I do strictly notes, and I do have like 20 different folders of different things. And what my experience is, okay, if I have something already written or something is written, I go to text selection, and then you can go down, swipe down, it'll be line, word, character, and then you copy the text selection like that, and then you go to it. It's the 2-finger, what do you call it, dial on the screen.
Oh, the rotor.
I don't.
The
The rotor.
rotor.
Thank
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that'll bring you to text selection. And then I copy line for line or character or word for word. And then after that, you dial again, and then you go to cut if you want to cut it entirely, or if you just want to copy it, you can copy it. And then you go out of whatever you want to, if you want to make a new, like copy, like I sometimes do, I'll put it in an email. You go to the email, and then you go to the rotor again and look for paste. And then Zoom, just click on paste.
Like, what if you want to, like, instead of like forwarding a message, like if you want like a text message or an iMessage, like if you don't want to forward the whole bloody message, just like a certain part of the message, does that work the same way? Text selection, you have to go in the beginning of it and
Yeah.
do line.
What? Okay. Say the sentences. How you doing, Angie? Hope things are well. If I only want hope things are well, not hi, Angie, I just want hope things are well. I first go to the rotor of words. I go to the skip hi, Angie, and then I'm at the site where hope you are well. That's the first word. Now you rotor to cut. So I mean text selection. So you're going to select those words. Hope you are well, and then text select those words, and then after that you rotor copy, or if you want to cut it, and then you'll cut or copy, and then after that you can go into whatever document. Like my messages, I'll message my aunt something. Trash pickup is tomorrow because of the snowfall.
Good.
Now, instead of, I want to text my father and my sister, we're all in the same town. Instead of doing it over and over again, what I found is I go to my aunt's message, I swipe up a couple times, and you'll see, I believe it's copy. And then you double click copy. And now I can go to message, and I put dad, and then I swipe up, and it'll say paste. And it'll paste that message.
So you have to do
So
that.
way
you
I
have
don't
to do
have
the
to
rotor.
redo.
You have to do the rotor all the time, though. You always have to turn the rotor when you do that.
Yes, the rotor is the main game in all of what you do. Yeah, the rotor
let's-
gives you
yeah.
a lot.
So let's say you want to
Pages.
copy something on like somebody's like something on Facebook status, but not like the whole thing, just certain sections. So you have to do it like that too, like the rotor constantly with the rotor.
I'm not on Facebook whatsoever, so that's a different animal. I can't give you any insight about. I don't know Facebook, period.
But that's all right. The copying and pasting process is the same regardless of whether you're using it in Facebook notes or pages, or it's still, you have to go to the rotor, you have to select words or sentences, and there's different ways of doing it. And that was a great explanation. Once you copy something once, it's held in your clipboard until you copy something again. So what's nice, like Richard said, is, he's able to give that message to many people only by copying it one time.
And another fancy thing I was taught, I don't know, by Gloria or Mary Abbey is, I write a whole paragraph and I want to delete a couple sentences. You go to text selection and you do those words instead of like on your keyboard, Angie, you backspace delete every character by character. You text select, and then you text select each word, and then you hit the delete button on the keyboard, and whatever you text selected, it will delete that whole thing instead of just backspacing by character, which is very time consuming. I've been there before.
Yep.
Photo
All
muted.
right, so
So
that's,
basically, the router has to be your new best friend.
right. So,
I find it is, yeah.
and then maybe that's
Now,
another
now,
lesson. Yeah, maybe that's another lesson
Now-
too, just the rotor.
Be careful, because cut and copy are two different animals. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if I copied a receipt from Tioga Veterinarian Clinic, and I didn't want some of the information, so that was a cut. Okay, it will delete it. But if you just want to copy something, it will keep it on there, you know, and then you copy it to another place. So those are two different things too. You gotta be mindful of.
All right. How about, what if we did like a rotor? The voiceover rotor?
Yeah.
What if we did just a session on that too?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Because I, like I said, I don't use WordPerfect or anything. I strictly use notes, and I have like maybe 20 folders of different things. I keep Daisy's cat food, what she likes. I keep different, you know, all different stuff in different folders, you know, so anything. So I'm strictly an iPhone notes person.
all right. The, anybody got any other ideas for like program stuff? Like, I don't
Do you have
know.
any, do you have anything for Android that you could go over, or?
Yep,
Android phone?
I did you know, the sad thing is I did an Android thing a couple months ago, nobody showed up. Every
Oh.
time I try to do an Android thing, I don't get a lot of people, but yes, absolutely. Yes, there's a lot of different things that have happened within the Android world, so I'll definitely throw one of those in again. I'm not gonna give up. A lot of people are using them.
Do you have a recording from that last presentation you did, or?
I'll look it up, Jim, and I'll see if I can, I'm just putting a note to get it to you if I have it.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anything else? Anybody get any good ideas? You guys are great. I just wanted to really kind of gear it towards you guys if I can. I'll give you, about, what do you guys think about, like, you know, that, like, app smackdown kind of thing?
Photo muted.
I like that.
Yeah, okay.
And then also, like, you know, do another thing on like AI devices, like the Google device and the Miss A device.
Okay.
And like, because you know you can change them around. Like if you have multiple devices, like Miss
Okay.
A ones, like
Okay.
like I in the living room, mine is ZIGGY. I can't say it because it'll
Yep.
set it off. And
I'm
you
not
can,
gonna, nope.
you can change the voices too.
Yep. Mhm.
So, you know, something like that. You know,
There's a lot of updates that have happened in that too, like with the
Yeah.
calls. There's a lot of different things. That's a really great idea. So I'll do like AI devices. And when we talk about AI devices, we mean, you know, the devices that we can talk, the smart speakers, you know, the Amazon Alexas, the
Yeah,
Google,
and all that.
the Apple homes, all of those. Yeah, maybe we'll do I'll do something on just those devices.
Yeah.
Just something simple. That's a great idea. Awesome. Thanks.
Gloria,
Yes,
are you familiar with Hue?
with which one? Say it again. I didn't get it. Say it again.
I think it's HUE, Hue.
Okay, no, I'm not.
Yeah, it's one of these smart lighting devices.
Those. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I bought the device many years ago, and I you know, it's a square device with a big round button, basically.
Yep.
And I put the app on my phone way back when, and back then, you know, I could be out at my father's and I could turn on the lights before I came home. There was a
Sure.
light switch. Go tap
Oh.
on or
Yep.
tap it off.
Yep. Mhm.
But I don't know what happened, you know, maybe with the updates along the way, the iOS updates or something, but the
Mhm.
app lost the on-off switch.
Yep.
I cannot
That-
seem to locate it, so
That happens, yeah.
I don't know if it's the app itself or whether it was the iOS updates.
It
So
could,
I
it could have
didn't
been
know
both.
if you knew anything.
Yeah,
Huh?
they could have, so one thing could have happened is they could have, maybe they did not update the app and the iOS got updated, so things are corrupted. Or maybe it just lost its connection and it needs to be reconnected again. Or what they call
Yeah,
repair.
I didn't know if that would be something that you would be familiar with. Maybe at some time I could call you over to the house and
That would,
take a
yeah,
look at the device and my phone, you know?
Yep, those are smart home, yep, I can help you with that.
Because I guess it goes through my Amazon Alexa, you know, it's on that
I'm
page,
sure that
but
it does.
it also has its own link on my phone. But like I said, when I open up the link on the phone, that switch is gone. It used to be, you know, I could see outside the house if the lights are on, and then I could double click it, it would shut it off, or vice versa.
Yeah, it's a.
That light switch disappeared.
Yeah. How about, does anybody see a need in doing like, if I do those AI devices, why don't I talk about, you know, like smart devices? You know, things like, did you guys know that, you can connect your microwave oven to your Alexa device? So all you have to do is say her name and say,
Really?
cook high for 2 minutes.
Oh,
Yes,
my.
and they're not expensive. They're
I
not
like
expensive.
that.
Yeah, it's really nice. I have to, I'm a little spoiled. You know, I put the recipe, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but you know, trying to find the button on the microwave and then the bump dot fell off because I washed it too good. And now I'm cooking it too long and apparently I don't have much patience for that stuff. So I rather just say, cook it on high for 1 minute. I don't have to touch a button or find anything or.
So is it microwave brand, or is it something you can do with every microwave, or do you have to buy like another microwave?
It's an Alexa enabled microwave. They were $50.
Really?
Yeah. I pay $50
50.
for it.
Oh my God.
Yep. I mean, it's
Really?
not the 900-watt microwave. It's the 700.
That's what I
Yeah.
have. I don't care.
But I don't need all of that. You know what I mean? So it's fine. You know, for the, you know, it's heat up little stuff. I don't really cook with my microwave. I'll heat up things with it. But so I'm gonna do like an AI device thing and then we'll talk about, I did one a couple of years ago, like right at the beginning of COVID. We had done like a smart home kind of Alexa thing. Why don't I do that again, but update it? 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of new stuff that's out.
Yeah,
Anything is informative.
I can't wait for my microwave to kick the bucket so I can get that new one.
I might just
I
put
was-
mine in water just for the heck of it.
Right? I was surprised at how cheap it was, I'll be honest
Ma,
with
I don't know what happened to it. It don't work anymore.
you. You know, we have to get the Alexa one now. Oh.
So now, like,
Here-
does it
Here's
have a,
$50. Let's go.
Yeah,
is it a
right.
regular microwave? Does it have like, you know, for sighted
Standard.
people, does it have the screen and all that?
It has the screen, the buttons, so if Peter wants to be happy and presses buttons, he can, yep. It works just like a regular microwave. Nothing, it's got the screen, the numbers show up, you've got the touch buttons, the same, it's flat, there's nothing tactile on it. Like I said, in order for us to find the buttons, we'd have to put bump dots on it.
Now, can you set the
Like-
clock?
like-
You
Set the clock.
Would you
That's a big one.
kindly send a link out for that? Or to
Sure.
me, at least?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is anybody use, I know Chris demonstrated them a while back, and I went to Walmart and got a 4-pack. I think it's called ITEK, ITEK. It's so smart plugs.
I love those.
Oh,
snacks.
okay.
Well, I installed one. I don't know how, because one got programmed into my phone. I don't
Mhm.
remember how I did it years ago, but it's like I'm dumbfounded. I can't program the other 3. So, that
first
too,
one-
Gloria, maybe.
Yeah, the first one kind of
Make-
takes you through things, like when you set up the first one.
Yeah.
It says you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to do this. But the second and third one,
Yeah.
it doesn't do that. You have to know. You gotta rely on your own.
I'll leave quotes and
So
some-
maybe in some time, Gloria, those 2 are the main 2 items. Maybe if we set up an appointment, if you can come to the house, my ITEK 3 smart plugs and the Hue lighting to fix that. Those are the 2 things I'd like to fix. Sooner or later, I'll call you at a later date.
That's fine.
And then can that Alexa microwave, can you set the clock with it?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, that's
Oh,
wonderful.
yeah.
I mean, you can set, you can't get the time from it. You get the time from your Alexa device. not
I know,
from
but
the-
at least that's stupid.
But it has a clock on the microwave and it has, it tells you the time, minutes remaining, like all that happy crap. The only extra button that it has on the microwave is it actually has a button to activate Alexa instead of you saying it.
Oh,
So instead of you saying her name, there is a button on the microwave that'll automatically activate her without saying her name. So
So-
you'll just hit the button and she'll go ding, and you
Well,
say
you gotta-
microwave high for 2 minutes.
Yeah, you just gotta put one bump dot on that thing. That's all.
I never use it. I just always holler out for her myself, but I just wanted to, that's the only difference in the microwave is it's got that button that will actually call for Alexa.
Because
and-
sometimes, depending on my eyes, that blinking light, because he never sets the damn clock when we lose electricity, it
Mhm.
blinks and blinks. It drives me nuts. Like this, then I had to get a new USB mic for my computer. And
Mhm.
it blinks when it's on and it's driving me nuts.
Yeah. Duct tape.
Two things. One thing real quick, if Chris could ever get a $20,000 grant and maybe I'm just thinking shoot up one whole room and make it into like a supposed fantasy house AI where everything is AI and show us like you got the microwave, you got the talking TV, you got the the Echo
Well,
Dot
actually, yeah, I
demonstrate how much stuff
Yeah.
is out there for us.
Yeah.
It would be incredible. But also, secondly, we had an experience last week. We just have a regular thermostat. And my mother felt it was cold and she noticed the heat wasn't on. So we called the electrician and we didn't realize, lo and behold, that the thermostat itself had 2 AAA batteries on it.
Yep.
Batteries were dead.
Yep.
My question is, I keep telling her, I would like to switch over to a talking thermostat. And I
Yep.
always thought it was Nest, but somebody said Nest is for Google. What's for the Amazon?
It's not about that, Richard, so much. So let me just back up a little bit and so before I came to Insight, that's all I
Yeah.
did with smart homes
Yeah.
in multi-million-dollar homes. I've done garage
Wow.
door openers, mini blinds. Okay, 4 levels of
Yeah.
houses. Okay, so just so that you understand the background. Okay, so moving
Wow.
forward, the one idea that we had was, and it's interesting that you mentioned it. Actually, Chris and I had talked about, the apartment that we have here. We talked about making that apartment a quote unquote smart home. So we
Yeah,
wanted,
yeah,
we wanted to do
exactly.
exactly that, make it so
Yeah.
that the television, the light plugs, the washer, the
Yeah.
dryer, all of that stuff, okay? So like my washer and dryer at home is a Samsung. You just put an app on it and I can control my washer and dryer with my phone. All right?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, all right, so let me get back to your question. Your question is specifically related to the thermostat. This is one of my,
Yes.
in terms of us VIPs, and making our homes easy for us to use, one of the biggest issues that I see, even at my house, is I have a great difficult time accessing my thermostat. So, couple of ideas.
Really?
Yeah, so here's a couple of things. First of all, I would strongly suggest that after you've made the decision and purchased it, that you get an HVAC guy to assist you with it. Let me tell you a couple of things about thermostats.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I got a stupid message coming in that's blocking your voice. I'm sorry, repeat that?
So what I'm saying is, if you want a smart thermostat,
Yes, yes.
the first question you ask to yourself is, what culture of AI devices do you have at home? And when I say culture, I mean, do you have Apple devices? Do you have Google's?
Yeah.
Do you have Amazon's? So once you've made that determination, so we have Amazon Alexas, let's just say, okay? So the next
Yeah,
thing that we
yeah.
have to figure out is, does our thermostat have a power wire? It's a white cord, there's a name for it, and of course, geez, it just slipped my mind. But every
Mhm.
thermostat has to have a power. Now, you have to know about your thermostat and its connectivity before you can go and buy one. Now,
Okay.
based on the fact that you told me that you have 2 batteries in your thermostat,
Yeah.
that tells me right away that you don't have that white wire. You don't have any power.
Okay.
So that means
Okay.
you'd have to get a certain kind of thermostat. And that thermostat would probably be an Ecobee. That's E as in Edward, C as in Charlie, C as in Charlie, O as in Oscar, B as in Beaver, E as in Edward, E as in Edward. Ecobee. Got it?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Now, what the Ecobee has is it has the ability to give it has this extra added piece inside of it that will give your thermostat the power that it needs without having to run a special electric cord up through to the thermostat. So you
Okay.
need to know a couple of things first. So my suggestion would be is call an HVAC guy, somebody who's good with heating, air conditioning, ventilation, that kind of stuff. They're typically the guys that would install this for you. Now, in preparation for this, just to be prepared, this thermostat is going to run you in the $200 range.
Oh, wow. Yeah, really. Wow.
But it should not cost you any more than $200 to have it installed. But I will tell you this, it'll be the best $400 you've ever spent. Because then at that point,
you're talking 400 together.
total,
Two
once it's
products,
installed, because you're probably gonna pay the guy, you're gonna have to pay a guy, I don't know, it
Okay.
depends on the guy, but I'm just saying, I just had somebody have one installed and they paid the guy $150 and they paid $150 for the thermostat. But
Really?
here's the
Wow.
thing is,
Wow.
that gave them the independence, Richard, because like for myself, I don't.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really independent with my heating and able to control it.
Yeah.
Because it's a button thing,
No.
it's a visual thing, I can't see it, I'm trying to use my camera, it's. a key item.
Exactly.
Yeah, so those are some of
And
the things you may want to think about.
My mother, of course, has vision, and what was happening was she didn't realize over time her display was dimming, and she was
Right.
using her phone light to look at her thermostat, and then all of a sudden, no display. So my father came over, and we realized the batteries went dead, and that was the whole issue. No batteries, no heat. But I'm gearing up for the day that I'm by myself, and so I need talking thermostat to, accompany me, so.
There- just so that you know, and just so that everybody knows, there are thermostats that talk. You can buy them at places like Maxi Aids. Here's the thing,
Okay.
though. Here's the thing is they're very proprietary. You still have to touch them. You can't talk to them. So it's not like a
Yeah.
smart thermostat. You know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
know what?
Yeah,
But here's the kicker. They're more money.
Oh, gosh. I
Yeah.
just looked at
Yeah.
one the other day. It was over $200.
Yeah, the Ecobee thermostats, they used to be about $199. Now they're probably like around $230. But like
Yeah,
I
the-
said, if we think about it, once, I mean, it's worth its weight, if you will, because it gives you the independence. And heat is that's huge. This is huge. We need to control it. We need to budget it. We need to have it. There's a lot, to it. And being, independent and just being able to use our voice and say, hey, Amazon, turn what's the temperature? 71.
yeah,
Up a
yeah.
notch, There's a lot to
Now,
be said.
going back to what you said earlier with Chris, how much of reality was that discussion, do you think, of that bedroom turning into a smart home type of thing?
I
How
still
much
think
of
that,
reality are we looking?
yeah, I still think that we're thinking about it, but like
Yeah,
right after we had the discussion, the pandemic hit and we're still trying to kind
Oh,
of recover
oh, oh.
now from that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna bring it back up to him again and see what his thoughts are. But I would love to do that. I've simulated some of
Yeah.
it, so I've done a little bit of the TV stuff in the discovery room.
Yeah.
Using our Alexas, but it would be really cool if we could just do it all right in the apartment, have microwaves, the ovens, the
Yeah,
stove,
exactly.
the washer and dryer, all of that. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
I'll pick it up
yeah,
again.
exactly. Yup,
All right.
because
Awesome.
I just noticed this morning on the radio, April 7 through 10 is the Rhode Island Home Show. I haven't been to one since the early 90s. Do you have any idea if the Rhode Island Home Show does any AI stuff? Probably.
You know what? I'd be willing to put money on it. It's a place where
Yeah.
they can sell their stuff, and smart
Yeah.
homes is becoming a really, really big thing. Just for the general population, but for us, there are
Yeah.
so many benefits, especially with the lighting,
So,
and now these microwaves and even the washer and dryer, so I can't
Yeah.
imagine they wouldn't have it.
so I guess I'm passing on the word. It's April 7th through the 10th, if anybody
There
is
you go.
interested in the Rhode Island Home Show. So,
Yeah, my friend and I, we have an RV, and that RV is fully, like, you just go in, you talk to it. I've set the entire, even the satellite dish. I've set up. Turn the satellite dish on, it turns on, it's on the roof of the
Wow.
thing. I can turn the heater on, I can turn on and off the propane tanks. So you can do a lot of this stuff. You just gotta have the right tools and the money, of course.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, you guys are awesome, and thank you so much for the ideas, and if you have any others, please send them. We want to make a program that's in line with your needs. So I'm gonna take these ideas, expand on them, and throw them in the program for the spring. That good?
Okay.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Sounds
Yes,
good.
thank you.
Guys, thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.